everyone, welcome back to Dakota's Music World. I'm Dakota Gordon, and today I'm joined by Dennis Atlas, keyboardist for the rock band Toto. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's great to have you.
Well, thanks for having me, Dakota. It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, when I was researching for this, I actually went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I found a clip of you playing from Santa Clara Valley's TV's House Blend. It was from like 2010.
Oh no!
I think you were 13, and you played a song off your first album, I believe, Integrating Consciousness.
Oh wow!
And it's just kind of crazy to see not only how good of a musician you already were at that point, but also how well you were composing your music for your age. How important were those early years of solo work as well as playing with your brother in slow motion and shaping where you are today as a musician?
Oh, that's so funny. I love that we're going back this deep, this far, right off the bat. So yeah, that was super integral to my growth as a musician, especially like you mentioned, playing with my brother. We had an awesome band together when we were teenagers. Actually, like you said, I think, yeah, I was 12 when we started that band, Slow Motion, my brother and I. And generally, when people ask about my first album, we're talking about My Magical Wonderland, which is the first album that was actually released publicly in 2021. But you're right, there actually was another first album that isn't available anywhere because it was something that my dad helped me record when I was 12, 13. And it was called Progressions, and it was all just instrumental, piano, synth, and strings and stuff like that, stuff that I had made on the keyboard. And God, my parents were just so influential for me musically and just so supportive of the whole thing. And had my dad not pushed me to do that, I wouldn't have had that experience of creating a whole album and learning how to record, even just in GarageBand at the time. And he bought me a Casio keyboard that people don't realize how great Casio keyboards could be. He got me one of the really nice Casios that it's really, I have it in the other room here. I still use it, and it's got some great sounds and really cool features on it. And I was able to start being creative, and man, yeah, those were some formative years. And that was a fun thing, playing on the local TV channel. They had a show where locals could come on and play music and talk about it. So that was really fun and very formative to everything that I do now.
Yeah, no, it was funny because they were even saying, like, if someone wanted to purchase the album, they could email you and you would send them a copy
Is that
of it.
what,
I think
is
that's
that
what they
we
said. Yeah.
If someone emails me and asks for progressions, I'm going to have to do something about it. I'm going to have to personally hand make a CD and burn it or something off my old Mac that still has a CD burner and burn a copy of progressions. That's something to look into.
No, but yeah, like I said, I mean, even just at 13 years old, you were so committed to your craft already and had the professionalism of a much more seasoned musician would have. Did you already have a vision at that point that this is what you were going to do?
Oh yeah, that was. If you're saying it was an interview, I was 13. Mm-hmm. I was already into that 10 years. I was already 10 years down the line of this is what I'm doing. I already know. So, because from my earliest memories, I was 2 or 3 or 4 years old. I mean, yeah, probably 3. And I already knew this is what I wanted to do. You could have asked me then in kindergarten or preschool. I would have said, you said, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'm going to be a rock star. That was the only answer. What else? It's like, yeah, duh. What else? What else am I going to do? So yeah, no, I took it very seriously. And that was, that's what you're seeing there, is that I just always knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I feel like, there's people who are just discovering how to play instruments at 13, and you were playing amazingly, but you could just tell that this was something you took very seriously even at such a young age. And then pretty much right after that, I think at 14, you started a Styx tribute band. And I mean, I gotta ask, what drew you to Styx? Because at that time, they weren't exactly a new band, so there were a lot of bands for you to choose from, even just the newer bands of the time. And then not only how did you start that band, but how did you convince a group of 14-year-olds to actually agree to do that with you?
I'm very persuasive. I guess that's what it comes down to. Well, and that's the thing, is it wasn't hard to persuade when you have all the music of Styx. I was showing it to my friends, and it was just so deep. There's such a deep catalog with that band, and my parents introduced that to me and my brother early on, and there's just so many elements to what they do, and the rock aspect of it is so strong and so good. But then when you go beyond that, there's so many other things, and the love songs and the power ballads, and then also the proggier stuff and the more experimental and jammy stuff on their earlier albums, and then their later albums that have just really strong songs, and Todd Sucherman joined on drums and just took it to a whole other level too. So it was something where it actually ended up being, again, very formative, because I I basically learned how to put together a band and how to arrange, and we all learned how to play music by playing Styx songs, because it has all of the elements in it. It has these advanced chord structures, and it has these harmonies, and so as 14-year-olds, my friends and I were trying to sing these harmonies in tune together and sing higher and extend our ranges. And I would learn guitar parts from there too. So even though I never really took guitar lessons, I was able to apply my knowledge from taking piano lessons and then learn these Styx songs on guitar, because they were approachable and they were attainable, but they weren't necessarily just simple or the first thing that comes to mind. So there was a lot to learn from that music, and I think that was what drew us all to that. And it was just, again, one of those things from my earliest memories. I was always a Styx fan, so it's hard to even to answer it, but those are my answers right there.
And a lot of those things that you're saying you heard in Styx music, we'll get into it later, but you can hear a lot of that in your new stuff coming out.
Yeah. I thought you were where you were going with that is you could hear it in Toto music too.
Oh, well, Toto too. Yeah, of course. But even before you joined Toto, you were actually in a band called The Trip, right? A tribute band. And this band was actually pretty helpful in you actually getting the gig for Toto, right?
Yeah. The Trip was a cover band that is pretty successful out here in Southern California, and sometimes travels around too. But they're very well connected, and it's a really, really solid lineup of musicians, and so they have some serious friends, and we were playing with some top-notch musicians who would special guest with us. I mean, at one point we had Marco Minnemann come up and jam with us a couple of times, a drummer who also plays on my new album. And we even did a gig once where we played with Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar.
Oh, wow.
and Phil X. I mean, this was a cover band, but it was like, man, these guys were connected, and they were really, really, really good. Really good musicians who had played on serious stages before. And so I was really honored and thrilled to be a part of it. And it was also something that I had to learn so much music, because it was just from the 60s to current, that was, and anything people wanted to dance to, and some of them, some of the time we'd play something that would just be more so something to listen to. And so it was a lot of just learning songs and developing that aspect of the craft. But then also we met Bumblefoot, or I met Bumblefoot through that, because they were friends with him, and he would special guest, the guitar player Bumblefoot, and he was the one who ended up referring me to the Toto gig. So that's how that all worked out.
We just had Bumblefoot on the show maybe a month ago. He seems
like
the nicest guy in music. I was laughing throughout the whole interview.
Yeah.
He's just the best. But how did that actually happen? So he referred you to the band, and then what happened from there? How did you get into the band from there?
Well, it was a matter of about 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
They were looking for somebody, and they could tell that Luke just had the feeling, and he talked with David Paich about it, and Joe, and they could just tell this was the right fit from my videos and from Ron's recommendation. His recommendation really
that
goes
holds a lot of weight,
way.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and Ron and I had become friends, and so he knew I was serious about this, and he knew that I was in it for the right reasons, and that I wasn't going to show up and be some kind of, some kind of jerk or whatever. And he said this guy's a cool guy. He could play the parts. He could sing the parts. And they looked at the videos and they went, yeah, there it is. And so I got the text from Ron saying he referred me because, I guess to back up a little bit is that Luke sent out a message to a few of his guitar player buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on a thread together. And Bumblefoot was the one who answered and said, I got your guy. I know exactly who you're looking for. So I got a message from Bumblefoot. I think it was on a Thursday. And it just said, hey, do you know a lot of Toto songs? And so, I wrote back, I know a few I could learn more. And he says, well, I just referred you to them. They're looking for a keyboard player. So 2 days later, I was on the phone with Luke and he was like, we got to be on stage in 6 weeks in Luxembourg, which means rehearsals in 4 weeks. No pressure.
Wow.
Let's get you up to speed with this. And that was it. The rest was history.
Wow. So you didn't know how to play a lot of the songs right away, did you?
No, I actually was I was surprisingly unfamiliar with most of the catalog, given all of the other bands that I was so into already. And so that's kind of what I was alluding to before, is that when I got the set list and I started listening to it, my first impression was, where has this band been all my life? I mean, this is tremendous. And it was exactly what I loved, and just a combination of so many cool things. So, when it got down to learning the songs, of course, I knew the big hits. I'd heard them before, and I'd played Hold the Line in Africa and some cover bands. But then, it was just a matter of diving in and learning the rest of the set in a couple of weeks that I had, and that was that. And we had one rehearsal, and we took off, and
wow,
there you have it.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside, Toto always, when you watch them, they feel like a very tight-knit group that plays off of kind of feel and energy almost. And
Definitely.
Seeing the band live, it's easy to tell everybody wants to be on that stage. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing it just for the money or just for the fame. Everybody has fun who's on that stage. What was it like for you as a new member to fit into this dynamic? I mean, because like Luke and Joe, I think they've known each other since childhood, so they've had that dynamic for a long time. What was it like kind of trying to fit into something that was already built like that?
Yeah, and actually a lot of the guys did. I mean, Luke and John, same thing. I mean, even earlier, John Pierce, the bass player, they've been friends since they were literally babies. I mean, since they were born. And then Greg, it was the same thing. They'd known each other for so long. So I was stepping in and they had all these inside jokes, and I'm looking around like, what are these guys talking about? And it just reminded me of me and my 14-year-old friends. It was the same dynamic. It was just like they had all of these things since junior high school or elementary school that they said and did, and it was like, wow, I'm I'm really on the inside now to be getting to hear these inside jokes or something. They were talking some total gibberish over the WhatsApp group, and I remember taking a screenshot of it and sending it to my girlfriend at the time and saying, like, what is wrong with these guys? Like, what is all of this gibberish in the group chat about? And then I had to ask them, and it was some joke that they had that was like, they knew what they were saying, but I had no idea what the language was about. I mean, it's a really fun thing because, like you said, it just goes beyond the music. It's really just a group of friends who love hanging out and doing something they love together. And that's been the vibe the whole time. The people who are new, the people who have been in it for a long time, and that's really what it's about. We want to get out on the road and have fun and enjoy our lives because this is what we do. And you can't go out for 7 weeks, 12 weeks on end with a group of guys that you just can't stand to be around and expect that to be sustainable. Or it's like, I've heard horror stories about that from other bands, and it's like, I don't even understand how you can keep that up. And they can't. That's just the thing. So yeah, you see these guys that have been doing it together for 40, 50 years, and that's really what it comes down to, is we love hanging out with each other, and it's a fun vibe. And
yeah, at this point, you've actually been in the band for quite a bit of time now. Has it been almost 2 years at this point?
Yeah, almost. Let's see. It's going to be, next month will be 2 years from when I got that text from Ron. And then in June was our first show. So yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean, were there any moments where you were just new into the band and you kind of looked around and you were on stage or at some point with them and you couldn't believe where you were or you couldn't believe the position you were in at that moment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many of those moments. It's like looking around. Because on one hand, it's like there's this thing where we relate to each other, and it's like, have we just known each other all of our lives, or have we known each other in past lives, or something like that? And then there's this other moment where it's like, I'm on stage with Toto right now. The weird thing is when people hand us vinyls to sign, and they want all of us to sign a copy of Toto 4 or something like that. And it's like, if you had told me last year I was going to be putting my signature on, on a copy of Toto 4, I'm like, you guys know I wasn't born yet. And they're like, yeah, no, we still want your signature. It's still, yeah, absolutely. We want everybody on there. It's like, okay, cool. But yeah, those are some of the funny, there's some weird moments like that. And there's just some, yeah, like you said, pinch me moments. Standing on stage, there's 20,000 people. And it's like, there's this guitar god superhero right here, and Joe just over there killing it, and Greg and now Ray on the other side of the stage just blowing our minds musically. And I'm just looking around like, these are my people, but I also, it's like, wow, I got here. This is really cool. So yeah, what can you say? That's life. That's how it goes. It's a combination of really unexplainable, amazing things.
Have there also been any cool people that you've gotten to meet through touring with Toto or being on the road?
Oh yeah, well, Bill Murray was just at our show a couple of weeks ago, so that was kind of neat. And the guys all knew him and had a few of them kind of had a history with him hanging out and stuff. We met Sting, we met David Gilmour, John Mayer was at one of our shows. So yeah, I've definitely met a few of those musical superheroes too. I mean, that's been really cool. But also just the fans and the friends that we get to meet are equally as amazing from my perspective. It's fun making friends all around the world, and I kind of wish we could spend more time in each city and I could make friends and get to know people and go out and do stuff, but we're busy doing the show. But it's fun on social media. I sometimes I have conversations with people and find out about new musicians and things like that, and it's a really cool thing to get to do this for a living and meet people around the world.
It's an awesome community that the band has surrounding them. I've seen Toto a few times. The last time I saw them was in August. It was at Tinley Park Amphitheater in Illinois. And it was actually my first time seeing the band with you in it. And I remember like maybe halfway through the set, I think Joe introduced you and he said that he was like, this is Dennis and he's going to sing a song now. And I think you sang Angel Don't Cry. And I just remember thinking, wow, like this guy can really sing. It felt like we were all back in the 80s and we had this like crazy frontman on front of the stage. Was this always something that was part of it for you, or is this kind of being both on keys and vocals, or was this kind of something that evolved as you got more comfortable and got to know the band better?
Yeah, it evolved for sure. The first year, I was really just brought on to be a keyboard player and sing the high harmonies. That was what they needed. It was all of the songs. The previous keyboard player had sung all of the high stuff, and they needed someone to do that. And then when they heard my voice, they said, "This is a really good blend between us." And when I ended up singing a line or two of lead just here or there, Luke kind of turned around to the other guys. He's like, he sounds like Fergie, which is the singer from that album Isolation with the song Angel Don't Cry. And so it just kind of, like you said, it evolved. And over time, they became comfortable handing me more stuff because, like I said, my head is in it for the right reasons. I want to support the vision of the band and what they want to do. And that's really what it's about for me. And I told them that. I said, look, I'm happy to bring anything that I can do, any of my skills or abilities, I want to bring it to the band as long as it supports what you guys want to do. And that's really what it came down to, is there were songs that they hadn't done in a long time from that album Isolation. And I was able to help facilitate that in a very lucky way for all of us. And so that's how that song ended up in the set. Yeah, it's just kind of evolved like that over time in a very comfortable way. But yeah, when I first came on, it was really just about playing keys and singing the harmonies, and it's kind of evolved into a little bit more than that. But when I heard that song, "Angel Don't Cry," it immediately reminded me of just like you said, that classic '80s frontman thing. So that was why I brought up to them. I was like, "Do you want me to sing this behind the keyboard, or do you want me to come out front and do my shtick?" Because I used to sing in some tribute bands and cover bands like we were talking about, and there's some of those songs that are just like that Bon Jovi thing where you got to go out to the front and really rock it out. And it's like that's kind of the vibe of this song. So I feel like we wouldn't be doing it justice if we didn't have that thing going. So I brought it up, and they were like, "Yeah, absolutely, you got to come out here, do your thing," and that's how that came about. But it's about serving the song and about serving the concept of Toto.
I remember you were running around the stage like a true frontman, and at concerts there's always those songs that people sit down for, there's the songs that people stand back up for, and when you started singing that song, everybody stood up and was singing and dancing. Yeah. And speaking of being a frontman, you have a new album coming out, Principle. It's coming out May 15th. And I actually got the chance to listen to it in full before our conversation. I mean, it's a really amazing album. Rock fans are going to love it. Even if they don't know you, they're going to know this album because there's really something for everyone on it. What was the inspiration behind creating the album as a whole?
Oh, thank you. Well, I like to say with this album, when I'm looking for music to put on myself here at home or in the car or wherever, I'm looking for something, and I think, what would be the album that I would want to put on right now? I'm going to go create that album. And then I kind of have a rule where when I'm working on it, it's very easy to start listening back to the demos and start enjoying it and just put it on repeat and think, "Oh, right, I got this far. It's really cool." And it's a trap, because then what happens is that you don't end up finishing the thing because you already give yourself the reward of listening to it before it's done. So I said, when this thing is done, I'm allowed to listen to it as much as I want. Until then, you get to listen to the previous demo or whatever one time to figure out what you need to do next and then finish it. So now that it's done and I can listen to it, I could put it on in the car and I could and I could listen to it all the time. But that was the inspiration. I thought, what would be a fun album to listen to? What's something that, like you said, is going to have something for everybody and keep your interest and have a lot of rock music on it and keep coming back to that, but then keep branching off to these other things, whether it's the ballad or the pop song or the prog song or the jazz song or the funk song or some combination of those. So that was the inspiration behind it. And then lyrically and energetically, it needs to speak to what's really going on throughout the day. And I could really only relate from my own human experience, but I think that there's a connection between all of us. So if I speak to what's going on with me from a day-to-day standpoint and what's really on my mind, which is the first thing I ask myself when I sit down to write music. It's like, not what do I think should be on my mind? What do I think people want to hear? It's like, no, what am I really feeling right now? And how can I put that down on the page? Then when you listen to it, it's going to feel like it's actually relevant to your day, and it's in connection to what's going on and something that can bring light to the situation that you're currently sitting in.
Yeah, I think, honestly, that's probably the hardest part of writing a song, is trying to get away from what you're supposed to, or the feeling of what you're supposed to write, and really finding what you actually want to write. You might not even know until you really think about it.
It takes experimenting, you're right.
But you're right. It is. I was listening to the album in my car. It's like the best album to turn up, just like, the volume all the way up and just drive around. It's truly an amazing album, and it has amazing people playing on it. You have Steve Lukather, you have David Paich, you have Joseph Williams, you have Warren Ham. I mean, at this point, you basically have Toto backing you up on your album. And then you also have amazing people like you have Ron, you have Bumblefoot. You really, at that point, too, also have two of the best living rock guitarists playing on your album.
How did that happen?
Yeah, what was it like putting that together for your own project and having all these so talented and amazing people come together and support you as they did?
It really wasn't that big of a deal. I kind of thought, whatever. No, it was just monumental. It was just, I'm still taking it into this day and trying to figure out like how did I end up so lucky to be in this position? Because like you said, when I walked into that group of guys that had been doing this together for 40, 50 years, some of them, and they've been friends all this time, and I was kind of like the freshman. And then now they were so supportive and wanting to play on the album and just wanting to support the whole thing. I mean, I feel like it's the reason that we're doing this interview right now is because the Toto management hopped on board and other people hopped on board to help support this thing. And you see me still taking it in right now to this moment. It's like, how did that come about, and how do I even process how I feel about that? All of these wonderful human beings and these incredible musicians wanting to support my vision for the album. It's just a beautiful thing, and it's really cool because I guess when I was writing the songs, I wanted to listen to certain parts and think, well, who would be the best person to execute this? And now I have these friends at my disposal that I can if that sounds like a bad word, but I have these friends that I could reach out to say, hey, can you play this guitar solo? Can you play this part here, instead of just straining and trying to do it all myself or whatever other alternative there would be. It was natural and it came together. And I mean, yeah, there was a part where there was just a drum beat that I had, and I thought, well, let me just hand this to Luke and tell him, play whatever you want over this. And that was in Candy on Mars. And in 2 takes, he just completely just ripped out this amazing funk guitar part. And we put the first take on the first part of the song and the second take on the second part of the song. And it's like, there it is. And that's just kind of a microcosm, a good example of exactly how this came about. There was a lot of room for people to come on board and support it and make it and just make it the album that it became. And that's exactly what they did. So it was cool.
Yeah, I mean that's just crazy. You have Steve, the guitarist who, played guitar in the Thriller album for Michael Jackson. He's coming up with guitar riffs for your album too. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think I just rambled on for like 10 minutes there on that last question, but the answer to that question could have just been the last 3 words. It was cool.
It's definitely cool. And earlier I mentioned there's really something for everyone on this album. For me, I think Games was probably my favorite track.
Oh, cool.
One thing that really made it special, I think, was the harmonies you had on it with Joseph Williams. I mean, it was so funny when you looked at like the list of everybody who worked on it. It said Joe's Lowe's with a trademark on it.
Yeah.
I love it. Is that actually trademarked, or is that just...
When I asked him to sing on that song, I sent it to him, and he sent me back his files, his WAV files of his voice, and he titled them Joe's Lowe's. Mm-hmm. And so when I was developing the credits for the page on the booklet, I put on Games Joseph Williams Joe's Lowe's TM. And I sent it to him, and I said, is it all right if I put this? And he's like, yeah, that's perfect. So we came up with that. That's his new trademark, Joe's Lowe's.
And how did you realize that he could even hit those low notes? Because like if you listen to any of his singing ever, you would not think he would be the person to ask to do the low notes. If anything, you'd think the super high notes or something.
Totally. Yeah, he has what a powerhouse voice. I mean, man, going and trying to sing some of his vocal lines, you realize just how high and powerful and crazy they are, and just the sheer amount of talent in this guy. But yeah, what people don't realize is how strong his bass voice is. And I would hear him warming up backstage, or he does a lot of impressions when we're on the bus and when we're hanging out. He does impressions either of singers or actors, or just quoting stuff from movies and limericks and poems and all kinds of stuff. He just can do a lot of things with his voice. And yeah, so after hanging out with him, I started to realize, wait a second, this guy is like one of the strongest, deepest bass voices, not just in the notes that he can hit, but in the tone that he can get while hitting those notes. So yeah, when I made that song, I started trying to sing that low part, and I was like, it's not nearly as strong as if I got Joe to do that, and that would be perfect. So I asked him, and he did it, and yeah, that's kind of how I found out, though. It was just all of his vocal impressions and things that he does when we're hanging out. That's how I learned.
You're definitely right. That tone that he has with it really adds to kind of the synth sound that it's paired with. It
Sure.
works really well.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm glad that came across. So
One
thank
other
you.
song on the album I want to talk about, I think it's the last track on the album. It's "We Can Be the Future."
Sure.
That one was my other favorite. If you just listen to that one, to me it feels like the ending of a musical where all the lights go on and like the whole cast comes out and starts dancing together, and it's just like energizing and uplifting, and it feels like a grand finale. It's so cool. What was the inspiration behind writing this one? Because it just feels like such an uplifting track.
Well, I genuinely believe the lyrics of that song. If the lyric is, "We can be the future if we can see ourselves as one," and the concept of it being that, what if we really are all one and the same? We're all just branches of the same tree. We're all just pieces and parts of the same thing. And when we're looking at each other and we're falling in love, or we're hating or judging, we're really just hating, judging, and falling in love with parts of ourselves. And we're all reflections of just different parts of the same thing under different names. And if we could really see ourselves like that, then everything that can come out of that will be the future of everything that happens, of everything that we can enjoy together. And the more separated you become from that, the more you become the leaves that fall off the tree. And I thought, what if that wasn't just a concept? What if that was really, really true? That was actually the case. It wasn't just some spiritual mumbo jumbo wumbo thing. And that was really how it was. And I started imagining that, and I just kind of let that flow out through the melodies and chord structures and things that I played on the piano in that song. And at first I thought it was really cheesy, and I thought, there's no way I'm putting this on the album, because this is just I was like, the album's got 10 songs already, there's no way I'm doing this. And then it just kept coming, and it kept coming out, and the song just kept flowing out and becoming more and more, like you said, happy. And just there was something energetic about that song that it had to happen. And it was almost like I couldn't prevent it from all just flowing out onto the page when I allowed it to. And then it grew some special kind of magic. And what was I going to say about that? So yeah, there's a lot of musical concepts in there, and it's uplifting and it's fun to listen to. Oh, and we were talking about how it's important to write what you're really feeling and not what you think needs to be said or what you think needs to happen. And that was a good example of that, because if I were to, when I was hearing those parts, like I said, I was almost judging them as being, is this too happy? Is this too cheesy? Is this too... And I just thought, this is genuinely how I feel. This is genuinely the energy that's in the room right now, and I'm just letting it flow through the keyboard. And that was a good example of that. So it's like, it's one of those songs that feels like it should be too happy, but it's not. It's really the spirit of what's going on energetically somehow being downloaded through this music. So
yeah, and I think what makes it work is that you can hear in the recording how genuine you are in singing it along with all the other tracks, but I think that's what makes it work so well.
Well, thank you. And I also included a couple of really cool guys on the song to just kind of give it that family, we can be the future if we see ourselves as one. It gave it that vibe. I got my one of my good friends, the bass player from The Trip, the cover band we were talking about. He's one of those guys that I just, he is the walking example of that concept that I just described. He's one of those guys that you just see him grounded into the soil, into the universe, and he can't harm a fly. It's like he's the kind of guy where if someone drops something and he's walking by, he doesn't even think twice. He picks it up and he hands it to you. He's just one of those guys, and he plays bass on that song, because I just thought, I just imagined playing this in a stadium, and I can see looking over at him and him rocking out to this song, and he's such a peaceful guy. And so I wanted to get that energy on the song, and to just bring it full circle, I had my brother also play on the song, which, like we were talking about earlier, we started a band when we were teenagers, and I thought it would be fun to have him play on the chorus of the song, and so he did that on guitar, and that was really cool. And also David Paich plays on the song. He plays a bunch of keyboard parts, organ parts, and piano frills and things like that. So it just kind of has that family of it just kind of has that vibe to it, and yeah, it turned out very special.
Yeah, the whole album turned out very special. I mean, you can tell that everybody, it's just like how Toto is on stage. Everybody who was on that album wanted to be on that album.
Well, cool. Thank you. I'm glad that comes across, man. I really appreciate that.
Lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some upcoming touring. I know Toto's heading out in the summer for an American tour starting in July, and they're going to be with Christopher Cross and the Romantics. What are you most looking forward to about that one?
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the Romantics. That'll be neat because I've never seen them before. And last year when we had Men at Work, it was a situation where it was like I'd never seen them, and I never even thought to check out that band, and they were so fantastic. So now I have my hopes high for the Romantics too. It's like this is gonna be really cool. The vibe is always really fun hanging out with multiple bands because everybody becomes friends, and it's like summer camp. So that'll be really fun from our standpoint, just hanging out. But I'm also just excited to get out there and play these songs. We have a new set list this year that we've been playing, so it'll be different from the shows last year. And we have Ray, our other new keyboard player on board, and he's just killing it every night. So there's a lot to look forward to. Seeing some new places and getting out there on the bus. You know what I'm most looking forward to? Halfway through this last tour, I discovered that what I need to do is we have a fridge on the bus, and so I started having making sure that there were eggs in the fridge on the bus, and that I have a little pancake maker thing that I could put an egg and fry an egg right there on the bus, so we don't have to go out for breakfast, because it adds up when you're out going out for breakfast that's expensive. That's like $30-$40 sometimes, and it's like, for eggs, come on. So we started keeping the eggs on the bus and go out to the grocery store and get them and keep them and make my own eggs every morning. And I figured that out at the end of the last tour. So I'm excited to have a whole tour where I will have eggs on the bus for breakfast. And that is a very exciting part of what's going to be happening on that tour. But the songs are going to be great too, guys. I mean, it's going to be a really fun show.
So if people take anything away from this interview, it's that you're excited for eggs on the next tour.
Breakfast is important, man. That's how it works.
And I also wanted to know, are there any plans to tour in support of your new album?
Absolutely. So there's nothing confirmed as of right now in terms of any appearances, any shows, but the band is getting together. I have guys coming over here to the studio, and when that's all ready to be, put out, and there'll be videos and things of that. But yeah, these guys have been coming over, and we've been working through the songs and working out the harmony parts and all of the dual keyboard parts, dual guitar parts, and all of that. And it's been really, really fun. So that's, of course, the main objective with this whole thing is let's get it onto those same arena level stages that Toto's playing. That's exactly what I want to do with my music. And let's do that.
Well, the music definitely sounds good enough to be there.
Thanks, Dakota.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Dennis Atlas has a new album coming out, Principle, May 15th. I'm going to link it in the bio, so if anybody wants to purchase a copy, I think you have it on CD and vinyl on your store. So
yes.
If anybody wants to purchase a copy, they can do so at the link. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. It was really an honor to get to hear your stories.
Oh, thank you, Dakota. My pleasure.